Yeehaw! Welcome back to Warriors Anonymous for another exciting week. You may be noticing, if you're watching us on YouTube, that we're a little bit light on troops. And much like the weekend, we've had a couple of issues in terms of... That's right. The Sauce Boys are both MIA at the moment. Isaac's not feeling well today. And Moneta is just trying to, just sort of settle the kids down and getting off to bed before it's time to jump on and join us on the podcast. So it's two of us, bro. Let's welcome in Daniel Whanakura. How was last week, bro?
Good, bro. Hey, this reminds me of back in the day, mate. A bit of St. Bridget's touch. You know, you and I take the game by the scruff of the neck.
That's it.
As well.
The combo. Yeah. We had there was an extra sense, just knew exactly what each other was going to be, boom. Yeah, man. Hit those lines and, we carved.
Many years of combinations being built as well, so hopefully something that the Warriors can strive for
That's
over
it,
the next few seasons.
It took us, 36 years? No, jokes. Bro, also, speaking on 36 years and a few more, you had a birthday last week, bro. Did you get up to much?
Yeah, man. Not too much, mate. Just low-key, which is good. Like I was saying before, I was pretty busy with... mahi, heaps of sports that the kids do. Tend to coach half of them, if not 3/4 of them as well. And just other commitments. So I'm just looking forward. Managed to watch the footy on Saturday afternoon, which was nice. Despite the result, but it was just nice to have a day to be able to go and do that. So it was a low-key one, but enjoyable.
Yeah, nice, bro. I've got plenty of talking points on that particular game. It was quite a bit to go through. And also, we're going to be tapping into a little bit of expertise on this particular episode as well, chatting to the One NZ Warriors assistant coach, Richard Agar. So that'll be cool to actually, see what his, see things through his eyes and what he saw on the weekend. But bro, before we even touch on any football issues, let's get into a quick short balls just to get us, limbered up, nice and loose. And today, of course, was the Oscars. So they're going to be thinking, for short balls, which Warrior would be an Oscar winner and what would they be nominated for?
Absolutely. We should go with Isaac's one. Isaac's not here today, but I think he had a pretty good one. I'll just check which chat stream he put it in there, if you don't mind me, people.
Hey, hang on. Oh, here he is. What do you know?
Off the bench.
Oh, man. Straight into the game.
No.
For anyone who's listening on the podcast, Moneta has just joined the chat. So, no, he hasn't. He might need a sub. Okay. Kids. This is going well. Have you got...
Take a knee. I've got Isaac's short ball, which I thought was quite good. Isaac's not here tonight, but his short ball was for best lead in a supporting role. We'll scrap the nominees, but the winner is Wade Egan and that beautiful set-piece try on the weekend. So.
Beautiful. Oh, that try. Oh, my gosh. That was such a thing of beauty.
How good in real life, seeing it.
It was equally as good, just, Oh man, it was really such an exciting thing, just to see a Warriors, show a little bit of innovation and to be fair, a lot of our attack wasn't really doing a heck of a lot. So to be able to pull something out like that was really, really good. Moneta, can you hear us?
He's on mute.
Yep, I think he's on mute. There we go.
The catchphrase pre-COVID, the whole COVID. You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
I'm now.
You can hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Right. We're off. We can. We can hear you. Yeah. Things are going to plan. I might not even ask you about short balls. We might even rip into the game. But I was going to suggest for... Sorry, boy, you haven't even done your short balls yet, have you?
I've got a cheeky little short ball. So it was for Tohu Harris. I believe he featured, and this would be a supporting role, I believe he featured in the movie The Last Samurai.
Beautiful. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, but I think there was headlined by a one Tom Wade Egan cruise as well. Just is there a link connection? Egan cruise. I don't know.
I could see him as a bit of a spy. Kind of on that note, I was thinking that my Oscar winner would actually be Marata Nukore. Would actually be an Oscar winner for a new category for best henchman. I think he'd be awesome. Like the guy doesn't say a lot, but he's there, probably backing up potentially the villain in the movie. I don't know, but yeah, I think he'd be quality. He could have a career following rugby league, much like Ian Roberts did. I remember he did a bit of acting after he finished in his league days. But anyways, now Moneta has frozen on the screen.
Oh no! I was just reading the agenda. I was just like, what's the short ball?
So the short balls is it's a bit of a fun one because of the Oscars on today.
Oh yeah,
and that is which warrior would win an Oscar and what would they win it for? Just to put you on the spot.
I instantly think of Will Smith in The Slap with Chris Rock, but that's from last year. But oh, that's a good one. Jesus. Oh, put me in the
Plus, you can
spot.
sit on it, and any time in the show, just feel free
Wade
to chime
Egan.
in.
Just
Wade
the
Egan.
star of the show, I thought. He just keeps on, he's like the Robert Downey Jr. I don't know, he just keeps on getting better and better.
Okay. Yeah.
So, his star power is rising. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
Oh, Tony Stark.
He's pretty smart too.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's as much of a billionaire, but that's all right. Boys, heck of a game on the weekend. And look, I've got to say, lots of people are really, sad about the result, but just super proud of the effort. And it reminded me of the old Captain Planet cartoons. And we used to mock, the fifth ring, the heart ring. Turns out that's actually a really, really handy power to have,
Important ring to have.
Man, Moneta, what did you make of the heart that our boys showed?
Just before I go into the Warriors, I always thought the heart was a good one for the Captain Planet because you could, if you're trying to pick out chicks. This is really bad. Heart. That sounds a bit dodgy. But
You were ahead of the curve there, bro. We were about 7 or 8 when that cartoon came out.
Yeah, shit. Climate
I was
change.
just thinking I wanted the ring to set stuff on fire, but
I can't remember. But I look back and I'm like, that would have been a nifty power to have. Definitely. Yeah, we talk about heart. Back to the Warriors. Yeah, they definitely showed it on defense and against the sweltering heat. They did a great effort. Some calls didn't go their way, but even though they lost, you think about it, they only lost by one try and a silly penalty, I thought. But they kept it together. They played really well, and I am definitely seeing improvements in their defense. And Webster's definitely had an effect on them. Yeah,
100%, man. I tell you what, I was at the game at Allianz Stadium, and it was hot, bro. It was 30 degrees. It was hard enough, just even being in the stands. Caught up with Richie Morgan from Warrior Nation. Also met a few people along the way as well. Met Hammer from Ruin Hammer. Met Josh Gage. And myself and Richie, we walked past your twin, Moneta, Joseph Swali. Who only just found out is actually part Cambodian as well.
Really?
Yeah, I kid you not.
That's why they're so relatable. Look at them.
Really?
Yeah, apparently his mum is Cambodian Australian.
Serious?
I kid you not.
Here you go. Cousins.
Yeah, there you go, mate. Your South Pacific, South Asian Pacific team is looking really good.
He's
It's going
actually
to be
Cambodian.
your guy's favourite player now. Got to be.
Yeah, it's going to be default. It was Sean Johnson, the other Asian representative. No, Joseph Swale.
He's a tall unit, pretty big.
Also, just before we head up, I want to make a shout. The forwards, I just think they're looking so much fitter than they used to be. They're still looking like they play for aggression, a bit of mobility, and they're starting to offload. So already from the last 2 games compared to last year, they look like a different unit.
Yeah.
And it excites me. Yeah.
Oh, he's getting real excited.
It's coming in hot.
He looked vaguely dishevelled when he jumped on, but now he's getting excited. Which is good.
Well, the kids, mate. Jesus. Yeah.
Good boy. Good. You put on the button before you jumped on. All good, mate. What did you like about outside?
Yeah, they're plenty of heart. Obviously, that goal line D and that back end of that first half really, I guess it was a double-edged sword in the end of the game. We needed to keep them out, and we did, but it was pretty sapping, eh? And I guess it just told at the back end. It didn't seem to be, you can't kind of fault them, right? Just didn't seem to be any extra energy available when the game was in the balance. But definitely love the goal line D, and I think people moan about the reset tackle resets we had, and some obviously not ideal, but if you with 2 minutes to go and you're on your line, or even a minute to go, we gave away 2 as well. But they're just smart, and that's what I loved about it. It's smart football, because who cares if you give away another set? It's about getting the D line set up, and you got to face 3 or 4 tackles as well. So I think I just love that. It just showed me that they're thinking now. There's some thinking going on. At times we didn't think about game context and situation as well, but that's just real heads up, eyes up as well. I mean, you might straddle the line of being penalised as well, but it's within the rules. You can just slow it down. So I really love that. And obviously, I won't touch on this. You need to touch on this because you were at the game. But a little bit of layering in attack. I don't think we're quite there, but we're just layering, a bit at the moment, adding a bit on. And then I think there was obviously some nice plays, which you saw firsthand, bro.
Yeah, you could tell that the Roosters, even though their forward pack was really, really undermanned, reading through the names that was missing from their top lineup, it was a different unit, really. But obviously they hadn't played that well against the Dolphins either last week, but they came in and they had clearly practiced a lot on defending the edge and just getting their defensive structures nice and sound, which made life difficult for us because we tried our classic block plays to the edge runners, and they were just reading it like a book. And I didn't feel as though we kind of necessarily adjusted that much from there. There was a couple of occasions where we maybe threw the ball wider over the top or whatever. And of course the gadget try, which was just magnificent. But overall, I kind of feel like we need a little bit of maybe just an ability to adjust a bit more. I know we kind of got.
Do you think one of the plays, bro, was I know they kept running Curran, obviously came on early, very early, which again is something we probably need to talk about, that they had to go through some challenges in the game, right? Like the game, compared to last week, everything kind of fell into place, and it happens, and it happened to the Knights, right? They lost Ponga and they lost Frizzell early, so they dealt with that, but and I guess that's not my point, but Curran, they seem to be running Curran quite a lot, but I think there was that softening up of Walker, kept running traffic at him as well. So, but I don't know whether that was setting him up to do something different. They probably played 3 or 4 block plays to Curran on a crash, but is that then, what is the next plan? Is it to just to shift him and go wide to hold Walker, or I don't know, just seem to not have that was the first plan, but what are they trying to achieve? But then in saying that, they were just too gassed. Maybe they couldn't throw any late shape at the end. But I thought one thing I did to add to that point, I don't think they're getting near Corday into the game. I think we've struggled so far, and when we can get him into the game, and you talk about the edge defence, I think they got over eager on him, and he just sliced through right as well, and that's what he can do. If given sort of a half chance, eh?
Yeah, right. And even obviously things really didn't go to plan, so we had to enable our 18th man, who is your man crush, old Bailey Suriname. So last week we had Monita's man crush, Jackson Ford, and this week your boy turned up with us. So Monita, in terms of our halves and our kicking game, there's been quite a bit of chat around that particular aspect, even before this week. But how did you see things on that score?
I think we did better. I think Sean Johnson looked pretty good. I think he picked up some of the his game from last week, and did a few grubber kicks that a few more variations instead of just the old loopity loop. Because I didn't see much of that last year. Like last year, there's always like the high kick. You didn't see much variation in terms of grubbers, but yeah, it was better than last week. But again, like they had adversity, playing in the heat and stuff like that, and so forth. And Tomato, I think he's definitely like solid, but I guess he's just kind of warming up to the occasion. But yeah,
he doesn't have a known presence of a kicking game, does he? Like
yeah.
So Sean still has to take the lion's share.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. Yeah, just to keep just get him off, like in terms of like not holding all the responsibility in terms of kicking and so forth. So just kind of splitting it in half when need be. But I can't fault it compared to last week. But yeah,
I think the issue they had, and I think we've further a week said like.
Actually, I was thinking of the Storm game. Sorry.
It's probably the worst team to kick to as well. So you can't kick high, and like aerially, to Tupou, like he's just a giraffe. He's going to suck everything up. Maybe Paolo, you could try him out, but then you've got Swatili'i on that side. I think he's on that side, so he's also really good in the air, and then Teddy's just solid at the back. I don't know. I think people give me SJ a bit of stick about like this sort of not midfield bombs, but most of the time we were kicking from about our 40, so there wasn't a lot of attacking kicks. And then you don't want to over kick it, because the last thing you want to do is have a 7 tackle set, someone catches in the line, and Tupou actually should have, right? He tried to catch one and he sort of miffed it, but the last thing you want to do is kick long, he caught dead. So I think you kick it in a spot, and against a tough team like that, you can't rush the D, like you can't have one person run up, because Teddy will be all over you, Tupou will be all over you. So, and it's super, super hot. So actually getting a staggered line up is kind of, a line up nice and not super intense on them, but just getting up there to have a straight line. It's kind of like, I don't know, it just felt like a bit of a nullified kicking day for us. Like I don't think it was either a great kicking day or a shit kicking day, but I don't think we could advance with it. And compared to say if we were a little bit closer to the line, maybe we could have got a few repeat sets, that sort of thing.
Yeah, the Dylan Walker kick when he grabbed it, that one kind of was like the knife in the heart. I was like, oof, we had momentum, and I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, and it's even more disheartening when Lindsay Collins of the Roosters puts one just rolls it into the end goal, and it's like, why can't we do this? All we really needed, I think, if we could have got maybe 2-3 more repeat sets in that second half, we could have got one in there, but it just wasn't to be. Anyways, a couple of errors as well. Everyone's talking about the old the super clangers, Dylan Walker's dropsies, and the old missing dummy half.
Well, remember last year, Tigers did that to us. Like we're on the rack. Hey, and the Tigers didn't have a dummy half, and it's like, I don't know.
That's the thing.
Everyone's in different shape, kind of moving to different positions, and then someone just forgot about the ball.
We had a few clangers, but we were still in the game. That's what I was like, damn.
And the good thing is as well, on the upside, we did lose, sure, but we've got a dead even points differential, so it's like, well, cool.
I just think it was one of those games we could have got with, I think. You look at before the start of the game, the start of the season, you go, Roosters at home.
Yeah.
Nah. But I think there's so many players out early in their season. Look, they made a few mistakes. Look, they could have had 2 or 3 tries, actually, to be fair.
Yep.
And their big players got them out of that, Like Teddy was awesome. Walker, he did the sort of stuff that I was hoping we would do, scoot out a dummy half. as well. We did a little bit of that in the back end, but I just feel like it was an opportunity. And maybe if the Dolphins didn't beat them, they wouldn't have got a toweling midweek, and then they would have taken us lightly. But there's one thing that keeps fucking me off on the coverage is they keep going to Cheese on the sideline trying to get back in the game. I know he was injured, and is he going to play? Is he not going to play? But they're for 30 seconds, where he's checking out on what he's passing. It's like the Warriors got the ball, they're playing. It's like, don't worry about the Cheese.
Yeah.
Just because he got smoked.
Smoked cheese. Oh, man. Who did you boys like in terms of performances on the field? I know we've got the... what's actually happening this week, Buddha, with the Warrior Holic running the...
Yeah.
What's it called?
Oh, shit.
We haven't got an official name, but I guess it's kind of a morph of our combined Dally M's that we had for the Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see each week after the game, Zane, the Warrior Holic, will post up I guess the fans to put their 3 points for best players, 2 points for next best player, and 1 point for third best player of the game. So he will take a combined score of that each week, and we'll announce kind of who the 3-2-1 was for the week, and we will be tracking it through the season as well. So and we might do what they do, in the Delians, is we might go behind closed doors.
Ooh, the mystery.
with the back end of the season. So I'll just bring up how we are tracking so far, and with a bit of a retrospective one. We obviously needed to go back through first week as well. So just to kind of recap, round 1 against the Knights, the audience, the Hearty members, there was a tie in terms of player of the match there. It was Wade Egan and Toru Harris with 3 points each.
Mm-hmm.
And Mia Kore got a 1 pointer for round 1.
Nice.
And then the week just gone against the Chooks, we had a 3 points for Toru Harris. So I think we can all pretty agree 60 tackles and 30-degree heat. Deserves that.
Got him on my fantasy team, yeah, boy.
good points. Yeah, top points in the game. Egan with 2 points. I guess his efforts as well around the footy field. And we had 3 players tie on 1 point because they all had even scoring. That was Marata Miakore again, Mitch Barney, and Sean Johnson as well. So overall tally for the season so far, sitting in first place is Captain Fantastic, with in the lead. Second place is Wade Egan, and Nia Kore is in third place so far.
So, just in thinking back to game 1, did Chans not get any points out of that?
From the combined view of the Warriors Anonymous crew,
Not enough.
not enough. Tough. I mean, I think game 1 you could argue so many options in there. I think no Jackson Ford, which was Mineta's man crush. He didn't feature, but I guess people would have voted for them, but didn't vote enough points to make the top three.
See
as
Caden
well,
getting there. Yeah, he got points for in the NRL.
Yeah, he's in the
he's in the
NRL.
Down in there.
What are those bozo knows? Our guys know.
I know you got the cut last week about Tohu Harris not being number 1.
And what did the fans say?
I knew you were going.
Just 114 tackles in 2 weeks,
That's right. Just casually. We thank you both the Warrior Holic and our fans as well for getting in and voting on that stuff.
And this is just for only fans, okay? Oh, no, I mean, it's for our fans. Only to our only fans.
Speaking of one of the great contributors on Warriors Anonymous, we've got Greg Spence, who gives us the good stuff every week. So this week we've got the expense account. Ching, 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 ching. And I'll just run through it because we've got a couple of minutes before Richard Agar jumps in. So
for people that do baking and stuff like that, people bake. If you come across a product called Agar, it's a plant-based gelling agent as well. But I just want to call him Richard Agar, but I won't.
Okay.
Call him a
So it's the
Tiger.
same
We've got
spelling.
a couple of minutes before we got there.
Same spelling.
Same
Agar.
spelling.
That could be a sweet little endorsement deal. Agar. Anyways, for the expense account, Wade Egan has now 60 appearances for the Warriors. In his first 30 matches for us, he averaged 30 running meters per game and scored 3 tries. Probably about the same time we were getting on his back. And in his last 30 games for the club, he has scored 8 tries, including that thing of beauty on the weekend, and increased his output to 50 running meters per game. So that's an improvement of 67%. Oof, I wish I could get an
I
improvement.
told you he's a rising star. He's getting better.
He is indeed. Charles Nickel-Klukstad, unlucky from week 1, has played the full 80 minutes just once out of his last 6 starts fullback in the NRL. Okay, all right. So there we go. There's maybe a couple of issues there, but
I think that was he was getting subbed for. Please get up for Savage.
That's right.
They were bringing Savage into the Canberra Raiders, but
Exactly.
and he's obviously had a bit of an injury as well. So,
Well, we're going to jump out of here and be back in a few seconds. We're going to have Richard Agar, Richard Agar, the One New Zealand Warriors assistant coach, joining us to give us his 10 cents, because you're probably sick of listening to ours. We'll catch you in a sec.
All right, back on Warriors Anonymous, and thank you to Richard Agar, the assistant coach at the One New Zealand Warriors, for joining us. Just giving us a good story about the Harry Styles concert that he just recently went to. Richard, thanks for coming on tonight, bro. How are you?
Yeah, good boys. Thanks for the confidentiality. I've learned that.
Jed.
The guards well and truly up, boys. Tonight.
Bumpers up.
Bumpers up.
Fair enough, bro. How are the boys? How are the boys pulling up after the game on Saturday?
Good spirits. Obviously, as I'm finding out, the travel is something that you have to put a lot of time and thought into. We came straight home after the game, so literally as soon as Andrew had finished his post game interviews, we were packed up. The guys in and around the squad helped pack the cases to get us on the bus, and I think it was one of the biggest turnarounds that our football manager Dan Floyd said the club had done in its history to get us on a plane and back to Auckland. Obviously, we've got another travel this weekend, a slightly longer one, and I think maybe 8 of our first 11 rounds we're travelling as well. So we've had to factor that in. But getting them back to Auckland even though it was late on Saturday night, has been great. They had all day Sunday to rest. Obviously disappointed that we didn't get the win, but at the same time, I think where we're at the moment, our aim is to keep improving every week till we get. We're certainly not as we know, we're not the finished article just yet. Very much the start of our journey, but I think even though we didn't get the win, the boys can certainly see the improvements that we're making and some of the areas that we've got to improve and some of the opportunities that we can see where we can improve. They're wholly on board with that, and spirit-wise, I think we've been excellent in that department. We've had a lot of spirit shown on the field, but certainly off the field, I think there's a really strong determination that there is a collective togetherness and a little bit of belief in each other and what where we're trying to get with it all. And we've got some great buy-in at the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. You can really see it as well. It's really shining through, even from our perspective. Just a quick question on, when you're running late to the airport. I was just imagining, how normally the PA announcer jumps on and goes, could Passenger Jones please, hurry up to gate 35. Did they do a call out? Could the New Zealand Warriors please, hurry along to the gate you get on?
He's pretty good, mate. He's generally at the first thing to open with bags. No, I think we can stay in contact. Obviously, we use Air New Zealand a lot, so I think the relationship with that particular flight company is very good in terms of direct communication and trying to make our life as easy as it possibly can. In obviously going through security in those particular situations, we didn't fly home with Air New Zealand the other day because we couldn't get the right time of the flight, so that became a bit of a worry for us. And there were a moment when we came out of the stadium that we hit the traffic heading down towards the airport, and we were like, well, we may well struggle to get on this plane, which would have caused us no end of trouble. But I think we filled the bulk of the plane up, so we managed to get there on time and get through pretty slick, really. So, credit to Dan Floyd and his tremendous organisational skills. Yeah, so he got us through. It would have been, I got in about 3 a.m. I think the players would have got in a bit earlier, but by the time we'd unloaded and got people home and on gates, we were about 3 a.m. But I've got to say, having Sunday off, we were very grateful for that rest and not having to do that travel on Saturday too. So there's elements to it. While there's a challenge around your preparation and the physical nature of it, I would say the time we spent together were very beneficial too. I know the club has spent lots of time together, clearly over the last 3 years. But we're a fairly new group, and I think the time away and the downtime you get in the team room and while you're flying and things like that, it really does help you build up relationships and get to know people a little bit better.
It really is quite mind-boggling that you mentioned, a 3 a.m. sort of arrival by the time everyone gets settled and home and all that.
Yeah.
That really just rams it home. It's like, wow, that's actually, that's like a big night out, effectively. Without the partying.
Without the party.
So yeah, that's a really incredible effort. In terms of like the game itself, we've been chatting recently about how we saw the game as fans.
Yeah.
But as a coach, how do you evaluate things? How did you see the game on Saturday?
Yeah. Put ourselves under some pressure. Some areas we needed to do it. I thought we kicked the ball a hell of a lot better, but our starts in both games and both halves have needed some improving. I think with that, it's just important that we keep our messages consistent around that, and we sort of play how we practice a little bit. And there's some individual responsibility around some of those bits as well, about how we've started games. The positive we can take out of it is that I don't think we let the starts rattle us. We faced some errors, we faced some penalties and 6 agains, but we finished the half, I think it was 8-6, and defended his own try line for 2 or 3 sets too. So we can certainly pull the positives out of the fact that we've been put under an enormous amount of pressure. And apart from the one instance defensively, we held up, under the pump pretty well. Came back, throwing some punches too, and the set play move that we practiced during the week. What the boys executed fantastically well. And I think the biggest takeouts for us are we need to improve our starts, and as the weeks go on, I have a big belief, guys, and I'm pretty confident in saying this. You can train for 16 weeks, and it's only until you start playing trial games, but then into the competition rounds, that you start to learn more about each other. You start to learn about your style of play. You start to get on the same page, seeing the same things as each other. And we felt at the weekend we got to some areas a little bit different to how we had done in the previous games, where we could have, I guess, exploited it a little bit better, but we didn't. And I think, obviously we're looking for the gradual improvements week in, week out. So, we look at it on the whole, and disappointing because we felt going there, while we were going to a strong club, we felt we were going there in good spirits and a good plan. We felt that during the game, at a 6-point deficit with 10-15 minutes to play, we're still right in there and had chances then. So we were disappointed to finish 8 points down, and I guess learning the lessons that 7 or 8 minutes in a game of rugby league can still be a really long time. Pulled out plenty of positives, but also the need to improve the way that we started both halves is paramount, really, because at the moment we're heaping a lot of pressure on us. The resilience we've shown has been great, but that's not going to stand up over a test of time unless we can start games in a better fashion. But as I say, certainly some improvements. some of the things we are doing defensively, collectively work really well. The kicking game improved. As I say, we're happy that the guys never really, doubted that they could go on and win the game even under such pressure.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, one of the things we just touched on before, and I know it's not about exploiting the rules. Fans moan a bit about sort of the six agains as well, but we felt tactically at the back end of that game, or that first half, we actually used that to our advantage. I guess hot on attack that the Chooks were. We managed just to kind of hold them out, knowing there's a minute and a bit to go.
Yeah.
Now, you don't mind giving away a six again there, just to kind of set the D line. And I think for us as fans, we thought it was actually eyes up footy. It was smart. And I know you don't need to go out there to tout to break the rules, but it probably worked in our favour. Are you seeing sort of some of that game smarts come into the group?
I would like a bit more, but I think it's situational, guys, too, and this is all part of the learning going forward. You commit errors in six agains in the first 5 minutes of the game, and all of a sudden, the play counts. They've had about 24 play the balls in our quarter. We've had about 6 during the entire game. That, what I would say, guys, is probably the reflection of the first 10 minutes could well have come to bite us in the last 10. Where our attack looked tired and clunky. Even though we were still throwing punches in there were elements of not getting to play the ball, dropping the ball cold, not supporting on a couple of plays where we had opportunities, and maybe that's a reflection on some of that stuff that happened early doors. I think another great learning for us is, and we talked about it to the guys today, is we've just got to be so far above the line and squeaky clean. We can look and whinge about calls if we want, but we just got to be better. We've just got to be squeaky clean and as good as we can possibly be in those situations. I sort of do agree with what you're saying. I think why it is such a poor rule is it's a rule that sometimes it's better when you break it, which is a bit ironic, really. You're not supposed to break rules, but these times where, I think the Roosters did it to us on a transition play, or I can't remember how it came about, but they clearly just wanted to get the line set because the line were broken in a certain circumstance and were happy to give enough tackle away. And that, so it's the rules up for debate, and I think what you find is a lot of coaches try and find ways to circumvent and best play the rules, which is very smart. So we'll change the rules again and we'll come up with another way.
I'm glad you touched on being squeaky clean, because, well, you'll know this now. If you don't know this already, we don't get the calls. The Warriors never get calls. We go through season getting bums there, but I think you're right. You got to focus on what you can do as well.
We've got to focus on ourselves. And look, offside's offside. There's no. It's just not a grey area. If you are offside when the ball's been played, you are offside, and you can say it's however many millimetres or right on the cusp of the play ball. Offside's offside, and there's some calls at the weekend that we would look at and go, really? But there's plenty of calls too where you're like, that's fair enough. If that's consistent through the game, you're sort of happy with that. I think the infringement count was around 47 at the weekend. And the point I'm making there is not whinging at that count, is that's a lot of infringements to try and overcome. So that's why, again, starting the game.
Good point.
And being clean, squeaky clean in some of those areas is, going to be really smart on us.
Yeah, awesome. Tell us a bit about your core role. First of all, before I say that, who takes credit for the little set piece play that we just loved seeing as well? Is that one that you dreamed up, Richard?
No, all of us. Right. So tomorrow will be the players' day off. So we'll have a meeting tomorrow to put our preview and game plans together. And so while we've all got sort of areas, we all chip in, and without wanting to give anybody particular credit, I think we all saw a similar thing happening in their defensive line. I think how best exploited it was basically a debate between us, and we all pretty soon agreed on a way that we could get that ball to that space pretty quickly. I think when we saw them setting it up, we actually felt too close to the try line. We're inside the 10, which actually put them a little bit closer to the play the ball. So we were like, might be a bit closer. But I thought they ran it great. Obviously, it were a tip on instead of a pass, and I thought Sean hit the ball. You couldn't have got more perfect timing and speed to do what he did, and out of the tackle too. So, probably all of us. So while we are all got different areas of responsibility, we come together once a week to, to brainstorm what our game plan will look like, clarity on our messages, what training's going to look like for the rest of the week. So we're all on the same page, because whatever areas you work in, there's always elements of crossover, and simple, clear messages for us is very, very important.
Absolutely. Talk us a little bit about your time over back in the UK as well. Yeah. So, interested in understanding the experience you bring from cup winning cup days as well, and what you see over in the Super League that is added to your Warriors experience.
It could be a long story, guys, this, so I'll try and paraphrase and keep it really brief. I coached for 21 years, so I started coaching very young. In my family, my father was a coach in the top grades for a lot of years, a player and a coach. So I guess I've been brought up in and around the game from being a very young age. I started coaching York City Knights, I think the year after I finished playing. I was assistant coach in Featherstone Rovers, and I've worked for probably around 20 seasons in Super League. So I've been assistant at Hull FC, head coach at Hull FC, head coach at Wakefield, assistant at Warrington, and then I did a year at St George Dragons in the NRL, but in like a high performance and sort of obviously the junior bits, which I loved and was great. And so quite a few of the guys that were in the juniors at the time now household names in the NRL. And then I had to leave. I had a 3-year deal and really got no intention of going on. Happy to see the rest of the working life in the NRL. And I just had some compelling family reasons, really. I've always put rugby league first, and just for once in my life, unfortunately, I had a number of family considerations. My old man got diagnosed with dementia, among other things. And so I went home and I joined Leeds, and I joined Leeds as a senior role to St George, and then maybe 10-12 games into the season, Dave Ferner had got the job, and the club decided to part company with Dave. And I was sort of the only experienced coach in the building, really, with very, very inexperienced guys supporting him. So I ended up head coaching them on a temporary basis. I said, I'll do it 3 weeks till you find someone else, then I'll do it to the end of the year. We did all right, so I did it the next year. Got to the playoffs, won the cup, did it another year, and by the time, I sort of went into third year, but sort of fourth season. But I'll be quite honest, guys. I've no great desire to go back to head coaching. While I love the game and I love the sport and working in the game, at my stage in my career, I didn't think it was what I was absolutely best at in the sport, being a head coach, and what comes with being a head coach now. The job's massive, absolutely massive, and I just no great desire to do that. So. Things didn't end as I would have liked at Leeds. I tried to come out of the job at the end of the year. I respected the board and CEO's wishes to do another year, but there were plenty going on. Obviously, guys, I want to be really respectful and to everybody concerned, but there were plenty going on. So I just went. I'm sort of knew I'd got some opportunities to work in the NRL again coming up. I was contracted to stay as like a general manager of football at Leeds, but I think the way it ended, and the fact I've been head coach for 3 years, I thought it was very, very difficult to step into another role, and it was very much a bit of a now or never situation for me, where the NRL concerned. I felt if I turned an opportunity down in COVID to join a Sydney club, and it was just too difficult, guys. Can you remember the time when people locked down, $10,000 a flight,
Yeah.
2 weeks
Yeah.
quarantine? You know, I think being an Englishman with children and family at home, I just need the ability that if I need to be on a plane in 24 hours for an emergency, I needed to do that. So yeah, I knocked the sort of, I had to unfortunately turn the Sydney offer down and just really regretted it ever since. You know, I just really desperately wanted to come and work in the NRL. I sort of knew I would get some opportunities, and this one come about by chance. I worked with Andrew and the Samoa team in mid-year. But I'll probably preempt a question here, boys. I've got a long-standing relationship with the Webster boys. James, his brother, had been the assistant coach at 3 different clubs, and he's one of the best friends back in England. And obviously, through James, I've known Andrew a long time, and Andrew and Justin Morgan coached at Hull KR when I was Hull coach. So our paths cross, you know, have crossed for the best part of 15 years. So, Andrew rang me and said, look, the Whips are cracking for a couple of jobs here, and I think I have a chance of getting one. I said, which one? Because I was pretty certain it'd be West Tigers. I know he's got some history with the Tigers, and so he says, I can't tell you. It's all top secret, but as soon as I can tell you, I'll tell you, and I'll ring you back straight away as soon as I know. And I said, look, I'm in a position where I sort of got to get back to work with Leeds here. You're going to need to sort of make it pretty quick. And started looking on the internet at apartments, thinking, oh yeah, I can live in Darling Harbour and I can get to the training ground really quick. I was laughing out. Hey, never assume, boys, never, you know what presumption is, right? And then, he rang me and says it's New Zealand Warriors. Now, funnily enough, I'd already...
You didn't hang up, obviously.
No, absolutely not, because before Nathan Brown, I don't want to divulge too much here, but you probably know, before Nathan Brown, the club were talking to another coach, and that coach had spoken to me about joining the Warriors then. So I had sort of, you know, I guess my name had come across Cameron and Robbo's table before. So, yeah, when Andrew would put that to Cameron, he fixed up a Skype conversation. But no, I part of my decision, I was happy to support Andrew. I think that was a big thing. I would definitely hope for the challenge. You know, I've never been frightened of a challenge, and the opportunity to try and help turn the club around, given the difficult circumstances that I've been through. You know, it was a situation I've been through before with clubs as well. So the prospect of coming into a club that, you know, clearly aren't going to be one of the favourites to finish in the top 4 this year, that didn't frighten me, it actually excited me. The fact that this was, you know, a totally clean start given everything that had happened to the club during COVID and where it was currently positioned. And the other one, guys, well, you know, I've lived in Australia twice, and obviously through work in Australia, oh God, I reckon 20, 30 times during my life. I mean, I've never been to New Zealand. For one reason or another, it always fell apart. So from a personal point of view, I were actually, you know, I'd read the stories, well, we don't want to relocate to New Zealand. I'm signed for the Warriors and not relocate to New Zealand. But I was quite the opposite. That was something that, you know, excited me from a personal point of view. I did some diligence, and everybody told me that, you know, they're terrific people at the club, with big hearts and great intentions. I'd always had a connection, again, going back to my father's time coaching. He was a big believer at the time in Kiwi players. He were at a club that didn't have the big dollars to spend, and over the years he got some guys, because he thought New Zealanders get better value than Australians at the clubs he was coaching. So, you know, I've got a lot of history with a lot of people in New Zealand, certainly in and around Auckland and Christchurch as well. And that, you know, on a personal level, that was something that, I thought, yeah, come on, let's give it a whirl, and it'll be new and exciting and challenging, but it was quite an easy one in the end.
That's cool. I was laughing at that, the Braden Williame article throughout the week where you got the call, and he's saying to his wife, like, "Don't worry, there's no chance of us moving to New Zealand." And then within 5 minutes, got off the phone, and she's like, "So we're moving to New Zealand, aren't we?" And he was like, "Here we are."
Yeah. I've enjoyed it. It's a beautiful country and a great city. I think it's a really cool city. I live right in the middle of the city too. Easy for me to get to training. Never use my car. I can get about really easy. So I've not found any sort of negatives whatsoever yet. I've been here. I've been here 6 months now. So it's, on that front for me, it's sort of with a stamp. It's been a big endorsement for my own personal decision. And even though we know the challenges that football's going to bring, it's been incredibly enjoyable.
Yeah, nice, bro, nice. Moneta, you got a question here about that?
Yeah. I guess, what was your first impression of the Warriors when you first came in? Like, what was it that stood out for you? What was it? Yeah.
The challenges. I've already talked that some of my own homework, if you like, told me a bit about the club and the people within the club, and without giving names, but the people I spoke to have been absolutely bang on the money about, the people that have absolutely got the club at heart and big hearts and genuine people. The challenges it faced, that was something that were apparent to me straight away. I mean, from an outsider looking in, you guess that too. But actually, when you're in it, you're like, yeah, it's challenging. But at the same time, I personally, I was made to feel very welcome. Really enjoyed the coaching staff, and I guess the cohesion, camaraderie, and the complementary nature of each other on the staff has been good. And seeing a squad that I think the easiest thing for a head coach to do is come in a new job and go, right, we're going to make changes. But the squad were pretty much intact when Andrew got here. I know he's brought one or two people in. But one thing for me was I just felt that we can get something out of the squad of players we've got. I certainly think we can progress, and that were an early impression, and I've still got that impression after 2 rounds that this is a squad, and getting everybody back fully fit and getting some competition for places in certain areas of the team that can progress. And the other part too, boys, is the club's really struggled on development because of the situation that it's had. I know it's a bugbear of everyone that Australians clubs come and pick off some of the best talent. I think that's always going to happen. I think what's important that we retain as many of the ones as we want to retain. But the fact that Robbo's committed this year to putting a ball team in, then we're going to have a New South Wales Cups back, then we're going to have Flag and Mats as well. I just think that's an awesome time to be at the club. Yeah. And given the current climate and market, I think it is the only way that the club can really start to become massive. But it can be massive based on that, based on what they're doing in terms of the pathways, for sure.
Yeah, we remember back in 2011, the golden days. Part of the golden days, we had the 3 teams in the grand finals.
I went to the game. Yeah. I was recruiting players actually, and then I tried to sign a couple. Well, I did sign one player, but tried to sign a couple of players out of the reserve grade team. Yes, I went to. I think 20s won, didn't I? 20s won.
Yep.
Yeah.
Auckland's lost to Canterbury. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
And Manly.
And the top team lost to the Seagulls.
Yeah.
Heartbreaker.
Yeah.
We're out of the game by half time, I think. But
Yeah.
But this having three sides there, that's kind of amazing, isn't it? And it's kind of
future was bright.
That's right. It was kind of what Penrith
Who'd be a coach? The guys in Grand Final and the coach. Sorry, boys. No, I think we're already done, want it.
Yeah.
So how does the coaching team of yourself, Webby, Stacey, and Justin operate in terms of working in playing groups?
Different responsibilities. There's a lot of crossover, and we all throw us 2 bobs within, if you like, about everybody's different areas. I think as a new head coach, implementing new systems, it's fair to say Andrew has the whole, if you like. So rather than a coach doing attack and defence, we do it slightly differently. Andrew overlooks attack and defence. Justin will take the middle guys, I'll take the edges, and Stacey looks around, or we term it special team transition element again of the game. So tackles 5 and 6, your kick chase, where you're going to kick, how you're going to defend kicks, all that type of stuff. To have one coach solely looking at that, I can tell you that I think it's a massive advantage for the coaching team. But there's plenty of crossover too. We have players that play a little bit of edge and a little bit of middle. That can change within a game. We don't just run drills specifically for that. We'll all have a crack at running different parts of that too. So it's very much all in. And there's definitely not I do attack and I do defence, and defence is good, but attack's not good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We're fighting for time. I want to do more defence drills. We've got very much a collective on how we see it, and as I say, days off are very productive days for us. We get in there and do a fair bit of brainstorming and trying to work out what's going to work for each area this week, and there's always a bit of give and take in that. I think no one's ever trying to hog all the time on the field for their particular area. We're quite easy to sort of get along with in that respect.
I was going to say, in terms of, you spoke about how you've been kind of coaching the edges and in the middles and so forth. I've definitely noticed a difference in terms of, it's only been 2 games, but compared to like last year, it just looked like the mobility, and just that's the one where it kind of pops out in my head in regards to how they can. Yeah.
I guess, good observation. We spent a lot of time in pre-season implementing what we would call fundamentals, and one of the biggest fundamentals we use around defence is movement. Is how the guys move, synchronicity in it. There's a system, so the defensive system. Very new to me, and I'm going to be really honest. Initially for me, having not seen it before, took me a little bit to think, how does this all fit in with each other? And it took the guys a while to sort of, I won't say fully grasp it, but understand it. And we're still a work in progress on that too. But movement. And as you say, mobility is very much a key to be able to defend in the way that we want to try and defend.
Yeah, notice it on attack and defence. I mean, some of the edge, like forwards, and I've already seen more offloads, which is kind of exciting me a bit compared to last year. So,
it's difficult for me to comment on what's gone before, boys, because obviously I work at the club, I'm working in a different competition, and also, there's a bit of a caveat too. I'm going to say, having been in there, the size of the issues that the team had, the organisation had on it were just not normal, really. Not normal in what is, a day-to-day now normal operation without obviously COVID restrictions and living away. It was very, very difficult for everybody concerned, I think.
Absolutely. So do you oversee both edges, or are you on one side?
Yeah, both edges, attack and defence.
Yeah, right.
So you can start blaming me, boys, when the tries are going. I know what you're teaming me up for here.
It's the other way around. Like I said, we've been complimentary.
Yeah. You have face to face so far, boys. I'm ready. I can go with the punches.
We'll give you a call.
As I say, we've a fair bit of crossover, and right at this moment in time, as we're still, very much learning about each other, it's fair to say our head coach has got, a strong handle on attack and defence, and we try and complement him and fill in the gaps where he needs us to do that. Our responsibility, particularly around individuals and areas, comes with edges and middles. So both edges and attack and defence.
Just to that point, I think we'd all agree here, pre-season and in the first couple of games, a real standout has been Jackson Ford. Just tell us a little bit about him. He's we've kind of coined him the Ewan Aiken 2.0. You know, they look similar. Maybe play similar, but he's had a fantastic start to the season. Obviously, unfortunate to get sort of rubbed out very, very early as well. But what does someone like Jackson bring to the team?
I've come across Jackson before with my time at the Dragons. Always fit, and I mean, like one of the fittest players at the club, if not the fittest, maybe not, but he's in the top 2 or 3 all the time, which that in itself is obviously a tremendous asset. I think when I were at the Dragons, they're very much seen as a guy that were going to be a long-term first grader there. They'd got at the time, Tarek Sims, Tyson Frizzell, Jack DeBell, and all those sort of guys playing back row. Jacob Ost, maybe a year or 2 improving. But they very much saw Fordy as a guy that was going to be a long-term bet for them. What I saw of him in 20s and reserve grade, I would agree with that. To think, Fordy's going to be a good player for a long time for the Dragons. But then, as it does, coaching bums on seats change and opinions change, and people come in and out of the club, and he probably just lost his way a little bit in there, did Fordy. Fordy's not the type of guy that will blame anyone, but stick his own hand up and say he just probably just wasn't working for him at the time, and he needed to change of club. So when we threw his name up, I think between obviously Cappy and Andrew decided that he'd be a good fit for us, and literally from day one he's fitted in great. He's obviously a big effort player, big game time player. Yeah, he has got the ability to break tackles. And his motor is, his motor, as you've seen, guys, his motor is fantastic. And I think from Jacko, I think Mitch Barnett calls him the Hilux, just dependable, like a dependable truck. And that's a good way to sum him up. He's very, very low maintenance. He's Jacko. He's not a guy that you have to worry about at all away from the game. And as I say, as you know, guys, he's in super condition. So yeah, he's been a good pickup. We missed him at the weekend. Such a hot day.
Yeah.
Have one of your 80-minute forwards go down. On the back of a couple of head knocks too. So yeah, it's he was definitely a loss for us in those type of conditions at the weekend.
Yeah. One thing I did notice in terms of the kind of players that we've got, especially in your edge forward area, and in the forwards in particular, was that we were almost able to adjust a little bit based on the guys that we've got. Got guys that can play multiple spots. We've brought Josh on, obviously, to replace Jacko, and able to move guys around. So has it been a real focus on the guys for this year?
Well, I'm not sure the guys were recruited to play multiple positions, but I think the way it's worked out, we've got some flexibility. Murata's really comfortable as the edge or the middle. I know he's played centre for Parramatta too, but we don't see him doing that for us. And as we've seen already, he's a high quality player. Mitch Barnett's got the ability to play edge and middle. I think the way Fordy performed, obviously coming in, enabled him to force his way into the team for round 1. And Mitch Barnett's trained a lot of middle during the off season. Toll's more than comfortable in playing on an edge, and Josh Kearns got the ability to play edge and middle too. So having that flexibility is something, guys, that I reckon it certainly helps your bench, and it helps situations that we come around on Saturday where we unfortunately got a couple of injuries and head knocks, and look, I'm missing Bailey Simmons out of that too. There's probably no more versatile player in our forwards than Bailey, who has spent time training edge, middle. He's comfortable if he has to move into the house for 10-15 minutes. Bailey's just one of those guys that wherever you throw him on the field, he's got the football IQ to carry off a role.
I told you, boys.
Daniel's a huge fan of Bailey.
Say again, sorry?
I tell the boys each week, when Bailey's in and around, just think he's that guy who can play everywhere. I think he's spelled and dummy half for a little bit and looked great. Big cutout balls as well. So it's nice to see him back fit.
Yeah, he's highly skilled, and in all honesty, guys, he ended up as 18th man of the weekend because of the coverage. You know, he got selected in that role because of the coverage. He was pretty underdone. It's his first game this year, and he has had limited preparation. And I thought he gave us some real energy in that last 16 minutes, and gave us some impetus in at the time of the game when we needed it to. So, you know, back to your original question, we've got some flexibility in there. It's probably not the plan to keep swapping and changing everybody all the time. You know, we want guys to get used to that position and build up those relationships and get that continuity. But it certainly helps. It certainly helps having guys that are comfortable edging middle, particularly in this day and age where a head knock, you know, any type of physical contest can leave you suspected, you know, to getting yanked off the field, really. So, it's something that's definitely factored in when the guys are picking 22-man squads, 19-man squads, and 17. Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, I think now as well, just with the activation of the 18th man is coming more into play, right? Which I think is a great addition because, you know, I think last year needed foul play, right, to occur. Now, you know, the 18th man is going to come in and feature a bit more. So, you know, it's good to actually have that versatility coming in.
Well, we had 3 at the weekend. We got one of them back, but we lost 2. And on a day like, you know, a day with the heat like that, we would have been really struggling if we hadn't have been able to activate Bailey, for sure.
So, now we kind of switch gears a little bit. We've kind of come through a pretty, you know, brutal sort of game on Saturday.
Yep.
How do you switch things up now and move forward, and how do you approach this coming week against the Cowboys and that road trip as well?
Well, certainly rest and recovery is important, and we feel that we've got that. We had we thought a really positive review today in terms of the ownership from the guys, really. And I'm not talking sticking around and going, yeah, that's my fault, in terms of the way that they're communicating with each other, what they're seeing, where they need to improve, how they're going to improve it, what their approach to this game needs to be like. That, you know, we know we've got some travel, we know it's probably going to be hot conditions again, but not really letting that be a factor. Just as long as your preparation's right, don't worry about it. And we felt that a little bit at the weekend. I think as the game panned out, clearly the start of the game, ultimately in the big wash-up, really hurt us. But I don't think we're going with this game with any trepidation about travel or conditions. We know we're going to face a good team, that's for sure. But again, simple, consistent messages from us and clarity around our game plan and identifying and focusing on the areas that we need to be good in, but more for ourselves than the areas that we need to improve in. I think that's where we are, guys, at this stage of the year. Of course, we're doing our diligence on the opposition and we're doing game plans, but there's still a very strong focus on us delivering the brand of football that we want to deliver and being disciplined, hard enough, and making good decisions when we get challenged defensively.
Yeah, nice.
Pretty boring, cliched answers, boys. I've got nothing to
love to hear
on that one.
No, that's been
love to hear it.
All about it.
Yeah.
So, how would I say this? How would your players describe your particular coaching style?
Oh. Yeah, you have to ask them. I think, it depends who you ask. Probably in my current role where I am, I think calm is one. Don't think I get too carried away with a win or a loss or a good session or a bad session. Calm, like to think pragmatic and detailed. Again, I'm working with a new head coach, and I think it's the same for all of us. We're coming up with situations every day where we still, well, this is what I think, but tell us what you think and what you want, boss. And 6 months in, we've got a clearly a very strong understanding of what Webby wants, but we're coming up with areas all the time where you think 16 weeks is long pre-season. It's long for me. You know, internationals in England get 2 or 3 weeks if they're lucky. So you would think you get a lot of time to cover off everything, but that's not been the case. We, as I say, I've alluded to earlier a little bit, guys. We've tried to be so strong on fundamentals to get the guys in a good base that we can gradually add bits on and build onto that. So we are coming up with I guess areas all the time that we need to address that and we need to look into that and we can do this a little bit better. And this is what I'm saying, until you play, it throws up all sorts of different scenarios and bits that you got to look at and address on the run. But what I think we're doing, I said we've got the buy-in, and I think we've got some talented and smart players as well, so making adjustments on the run hasn't really been too difficult for us. And we're going to need to make some again this weekend, I think.
Yeah. Where are we up to in our questions, boys?
Pretty much done, mate.
We all good? Yeah.
Well,
It's getting late here in New Zealand,
I
mate.
usually talk about these boys and they cut me off because the time's up. So I'm happy with that.
No, bro, thanks for
it's
joining
been
us.
good.
This has been really insightful. It's just so cool to be able to, just see things through a different kind of lens that you bring.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to, to get a little, just a little peek inside.
Do you mean see things through a proper rugby league lens
That's
rather than Al sit on the couch for a few beers, jump up every time there's a try?
It's a good way to see it, guys, and I still enjoy seeing it myself that way every now and again.
Yep.
Unfortunately, in the job that I do, you might try doing that, but you end up analysing it. You end up just watching. No matter how much you think, right, I'm going to go have a bit and I'm going to sit and enjoy and watch this game, you always end up scrutinising and analysing. Yeah,
right.
Hardwired, unfortunately.
Do you ever sort of have inspiration at like just the wrong moments? Like you wake up at 3 a.m. and go, a double round, that would work. Like, do you have those kind of moments? Or?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah,
right.
In the gym, swimming. Going to bed on a night, but with your phones now you can make notes on your phones, can't you? So if I have an idea that flashes across, and it might be a useless one, but try and make a note of it so I don't forget and bring it up at a coach's meeting or
Did you have any ideas at the Harry Styles concert? Did that spark any creativity or?
No, zero. The only idea I'm going to get out of this stadium without embarrassing myself thoroughly and getting ripped off by a taxi driver. I'll think that one. I'll think that one through a bit better next time, boys.
It's been really good though. I mean, like just kind of picking the brains and just like some of the assumptions that in terms of the changes that we've seen, and then hearing the work that you've been doing to kind of implement those changes. Because I think, like, from my observation from a nobody, for the last 2 games, it's definitely been evident in comparison to last year. So, it's been great to hear that these kind of progressions are happening and so forth. So,
we know we've got to keep getting better. We know that. We understand that. We're not sat here after 2 games thinking, beating his chest and thinking, this is it. We know and understood this was going to be a journey. But I think it's important to sort of reiterate that, we didn't come in thinking that this were any type of lost cause. We were quite excited about the guys that we were going to work with. I've coached a long time, boys, and I've coached a lot of good players. I'm talking Kangaroos, Kiwi and Australian international state of origin players, British players. Total Harris is as good a player as I've ever come across in 20 years. And I don't have a lot of hands-on day-to-day stuff with Total because he's a middle forward. But there's some talent at the club. There's some great young talent. You have guys, I use Rocco Berry as an example, and Rocco's probably going to play his first game this weekend. He's hardly played rugby league. He's a great rugby player and he's full of athleticism and skill, but he's played a handful of rugby league games in his life. There's some real areas of excitement. I'm certainly excited about some of the. When I say local guys, I certainly mean some of the younger Kiwis in our squad too. I think the development players that we've got at the moment could be really good players. I'm guessing you guys would have seen some of the SG ball games too. And while they've got a way to go in, I guess as rugby league players, some of them, because some of them haven't got strong rugby league backgrounds. There's some real natural talent in that team. As a coaching first grade, I don't know whether I'm going to be at the club when some of these guys mature and get through to first grade. I'd like to think if you're doing the right thing, you might be. But yeah, if I were a Warriors fan, I'd be thinking that this is a good opportunity. I'm fully aware that people will talk about the difficulties in being a Warriors fan and false dawns and all this, but the club has got a real good opportunity and a very supportive owner and CEO at this moment in time that are backing the club by putting these pathways in place. I think it's a pretty positive time. Results early doors. We've got to keep improving. We've got to keep improving to keep winning games. We know that, but I think. I think we're on the right track with the squad, and we are seeing improvements day to day and week to week, and we're seeing a good commitment from the two.
Awesome, bro. Sounding good, man. Sounding really good. Thanks again for joining us and taking the time out of your busy schedule. And bro, best of luck first of all for the game against the Cowboys this week.
Thanks, guys. Been a pleasure. Awesome. Go easy on me, boys, won't you?
I'll be calling you up if there's any kind of mistakes on the edge.
I'm not a social media man, so don't. You can go for your lives if you want.
Richard, what's up here?
It's the edge. No, awesome. Thanks, awesome. Bro. Man, super cool insights there from Richard Agar. Boys, what did you make of that? Maneda's doing the thumbs up. I'm feeling excited, bro. Like, how are you boys feeling about it?
I think just hearing the thoughts and the thinking behind his approach kind of fills me with a bit more. It seems a bit more. I hate to use structure, but it seems a bit more structured in terms of how they're deliberately implementing these changes in their games, like the whole mobility talk. Like I mentioned before, like you've noticed around mobility and some of the things they've been doing to get to that point. It's really interesting. And so forth, and how they just, how the whole coaching thing around. Usually you have an attack and defence coach, but they've just got Webster going over the peripheral, so it's kind of cool to hear that.
You might have a future in coaching, bro, because he was pretty impressed when you made that point.
This is one of the few points I've actually made that's on the mark. So.
I really love that style they talk about. We knew that they were going to go instead of being attack and defence, they were going to go down the players as well. I really love that. Obviously, it's a throw to the NFL, right? And a lot of the American sports, how they coach positions. And obviously, you can just build connections, and you can really get deep into the detail of those roles as well. And obviously, Manito, you missed the word that we've created. They can get into the process more. It's all about the process.
We should have pitched that one.
Darkest
Dawn. He would have gone with it.
That's still the one.
But the process.
The darkest dawn.
Hey, no Dork is done. Dork is done.
Dawn is
not yet.
Dawn is dark.
We don't want to call that out too early.
That's still my number one.
Let's not get too hasty, fellas. Big game against the Cowboys coming up over in Townsville. It's going to be a bloody sweat fest, probably. Maybe a bit of rain around, potentially as well. It's been a bit of rain going on.
And have we just got a scoop? We've got a scoop.
Rocco Berry.
I think Rocco Berry plays fullback this weekend. He said Rocco's in for line for his first game, unless he's meaning playing.
I thought New South Wales. That was my immediate assumption.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I've overshot it, but
yeah,
he did say
Rocco. So I'm thinking the same thing. Maybe we don't know.
Because C&K's not available. Do they go to Tuopiki? Or do you want a bit of size at the back?
Well, apparently Tuopiki had a moon boot on after his game.
There you go.
And
he would have been good.
Oh man,
that was Raz Makihi made the
break on that.
that little scoop. So hopefully he's all right, but we'll see. I mean, Chance might be all right himself, maybe, but he looked great by the time he was leaving the field. So Ford, Curran, Chance. I was just about to call him Chanel. Oh, the old days. Those three guys, maybe status a little bit up in the air. I think Montoya might be all right. I don't think
he was on the charge sheet, was he?
He got put on report, but I don't think it's gone much further, right? Because it wasn't really. They probably thought.
And can I just have a moan about?
Yes,
can I moan about that? Like, when was the last time they've gone back 4 plays? And it was a knock on and all the rest to check a play, and then so again maybe it's a new rule they've come up with that if it's a reportable offence you get a penalty. It's like, hold on, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like they'd run back into play after 2 minutes and go, oh, that hit 2 minutes ago. Yeah, you can't do that on report.
Yep, I agree.
Penalty.
Just it stinks of like rugby union kind of styles, doesn't it? It's like, guys, let's not go there. Let's not go there. Anyways, let's quickly just check on what we think is going to happen this weekend against the Cowboys. Moneta, what do you want to see, bro?
Same the same, but I think what Richard brought up is around like a good start to the halves, so then it had that compounding effect to later, because that was actually a really good point. We're kind of burning the fuel at the beginning and then not saving enough for the end. So if we can get rid of those kind of silly penalties and mistakes, then I think we'd be in for a good chance, because I think we kind of saw that at the latter end of the game, the 10 to 20 minutes where there was no dummy half, a couple of bad passes from dummy half and just a bad kick. So I think that's now where I'm thinking it's important that we play a good solid 20 error free, but we'll see how it goes, eh?
Buddha, what do you reckon, bro?
I'm worried about. Actually, I'm not worried. I think we can get the Cows, and we'll talk about that soon. I think they haven't had the greatest start to the season as well, and the Broncos exploited them in areas. But players that worry me, Jeremiah Nanai, he's got it all right. He's fast. He's got offload. He runs the Britain near quarter line as well, which is slick lines, and he's the massive aerial threat. So he's going to be hard to contain. Dearden also, he can trouble you with his running game. He's quite strong and he can hit the line well. And Murray Tuolangi is always someone who plays well against us. Great skill set too, big body. But to our boys, I think we need to see Nia Corda involved more. I don't want to see him out on the edge.
Richard.
Let's call Richard.
Richard. Yeah, got it. The ball.
More.
But I do like him going spelling in the middle as well. And I think SJ. I think see what Reece Walsh did against the Cowboys. Yeah, can we talk about Reece Walsh? Yes, he used to be a Warriors. Everyone doesn't like him, but attacking wise, he was.
Oh, he was good.
Dynamic.
He was good.
Yeah,
he was.
I think that ability to skip that, like that pace that SJ has as well over a short space, just to go to that first attacker and get across. Like he just put them in two minds and open them up. So if we could do something like that.
I was like, damn it, Reece Walsh, where was this?
Well, I mean, he looked like that at the start when he was with us, and then it sort of just didn't quite.
He was everywhere. I mean, he made some really good tackles too. I was like, what?
He got brushed off a few times too, but
I really like that guy, Ezra Mam, for the Broncos. I think he's awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome, eh? I think D Buns is going to want to have a little bit of a. He made a few mistakes, in the heat of the moment, and I think he probably looked like he felt like he'd let the team down, but not. I think it was a collective effort that we didn't quite get over the line. But I'd expect him to have a big game. I just love the mongrel he brings. I love the chap.
You love that he's given it some. That's the key thing.
Before we wrap up, did you guys see the Bulldogs and how they played?
Yes.
Oh
amazing.
My god.
Yeah.
Like, that was the best attacking football I've seen in a while. It was like razzle-dazzle, everything. Like that first half was that Carraz guy, the wing.
Oh, he's good
Jesus
too.
Christ,
man! Is it that guy that sings that song, Jason Mraz? Oh no, no. No. I know. Sorry.
Ruined.
Anyways.
But yeah, in Pernat, what's this? What's it? The ex-war
Hayes Perrin.
Bloody hell.
Yep.
He looked quick.
I put a post up about him.
And you,
Like, oh look, we lost another one. And someone said he was shithouse last week.
yeah, people were shutting you down.
Shithouse to the
People were
penthouse.
shutting you down. I was like, God, this ain't Warriors till I die.
Yeah, he looked good too. They just look good, the Dogs, but they can blow hot and cold though because they're all real mud against.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying, genuinely, just watching the game, I was like, whoa, what the hell?
How about the Bellamy blow up at half time?
Oh, that would have
deluxe.
That would have, yeah. That would have bloody sent shockwaves through the grandstand, I reckon. People were there shaking their seats going, what's going on?
Alright.
Hey, can we just one little sweet fantasy update? I don't even know what is going on, but all I know is I beat fucking Scone Louts. What you got, Scone Louts, in the draft.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I think he got lost one game last year, and it was the grand final. And he was out. So
He's got the grand final hangover. That's the problem. I do actually know a little bit about the draft fantasy. I know that you and me are playing this weekend, Buddha.
Ooh.
So
in draft,
yeah, head to head.
I thought they had a real shit team, but they seem to be doing okay.
Yeah, you're doing all right. What do you? Yeah,
I lost to Spoonie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm 2-0 in the other one. So I'll take that.
My bet is going to go flat.
2-0. Right, fair, bro. That's ramping up. Just going to say, just quietly, I'm going to enjoy this moment because I'm on top of the table. Anyways.
Alright, let's end this before I can't do proper goodbyes.
Boys. Alright, fellas. Monitor, we'll say goodbye to you first.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Go the Warriors. It'll be 2016 to the Warriors.
2016, Butter?
Hard, we're going to win. It's going to be 2012. We're just going to go through the season.
Oh, the 2012.
2012.
The John Cusack season. Okay, alright. Yeah, I like that. I'll go, let's go 21-20. Field goal to win it.
But then Val Holmes, he fucking killed us last time.
We'll get him back. We'll get him back this time. Anyways. On behalf of Monitor Sauce, Daniel Wharekura, and also the missing Isaac Sauce, my name is Jared Cronin. This has been Warriors Anonymous. Thank you to Richard Agar for chatting to us.
Agar.
We'll see you next time. We'll see you and go bloody Warriors!